It's loading. Alrighty. We are live streaming. And you should see my screen.
We do.
Excellent. All good things. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to BPA's Go Team meeting. We will follow the agenda as it's been emailed to you and publicly noticed. I'd like to remind everyone that this is a meeting of the Go Team, so only members of our team may participate in our discussion, and any members of the public present are just quietly observing. For members of the Go Team, please identify yourself when you speak. I'm pleased to call this meeting of the Go Team to order at 6:06 p.m. Our first order of business is to call roll. Allie, are you able to call roll? She may not be because she's
I can. Sorry, I just couldn't come off mute.
all good. Thank
All
you.
right. Holly Brookins,
Here.
Ed Cruz. Hey, Ed. Amy Salter, not present. Melanie Williams.
Here.
Morgan Kingray.
Here.
Jordan Lingenfelter.
Here.
Leisure West. Is not present. Allie Wilson, I am here. Shamika Batiste. And Tanasha Mahone.
I'm here.
All right. We have a quorum.
Yay, we have a quorum so we can take action tonight. Our first order of business is to approve our agenda. This was provided to you all, and you see a copy of it here on our screen. Does anybody have any changes to our agenda?
Nope.
Awesome. May I have a motion to approve our agenda?
I motion to approve it.
Thank you, Jordan. Do you have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Tanasha. All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand so that Allie can record your vote.
Aye.
All right. Any opposed, please say nay. Any abstentions? All righty, we're good to go. So we're going to go ahead and approve our meeting minutes from our last meeting. Those were provided to you all as well. As you all reviewed those, did anybody have any corrections? We passed our budget last meeting.
Yay.
Looks like we do not have any corrections, so may I have a motion to approve our previous meeting minutes?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Ed. May I have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Tanasha. All in favor, please say aye or raise your hand.
Aye.
Aye.
There we go. That was all of us. So no nays, no abstentions. So we will, first we should go into our discussion items, but instead of going to our discussion items in honor of Ms. Megan Mellick's time joining us for our information item of her school counseling advisory presentation, which we are so excited to have her here. We're going to jump to that and then we'll pop back up.
Y'all, thank you so much for your time, and thank you to Dr. Brookins for her idea for me to complete this advisory council through the Go Team this year. It means a ton. The American School Counselor Association recommends that a comprehensive school counseling program has at least 2 advisory council presentations a year so that our community and stakeholders can really just advise the school counselor on how the program is going and if there are improvements or celebrations. So I came to you in November to kind of give you a snapshot of what I had been up to so far, and this is the snapshot of the year. I'm really excited about the work that we did in the school counseling department at BPA. We have a lot of growing to do, but I'm really excited with the data I have prepared to share with you today. So this is the use of time data that I wanted to start with. And overall, you'll see the graphics at the top is the Pareto analysis of my use of time. The American School Counselor Association recommends that a school counselor spends 80% of one's time either directly or indirectly with or for students. And so you'll see that I met that and exceeded it. Directly with students, 56% of my time was spent directly working with kiddos. That's either in classroom lessons, individual sessions, or small group counseling sessions. And then 31% of my time was spent working on behalf of kiddos. That's any work that I have to do, maybe on the whole child team, in 504 meetings, parent-teacher conferences, parent conferences, and then the rest of the time shook out 12% in program planning and a little bit of non-school counselor tasks. Overall, I'm really proud of the use of time. I felt it. I know I was moving and shaking all year, but I do think that there's a ton of really great outcomes and things to share with you. To the left-hand side, this is a snapshot of our student referral system. So their self-referral system, which is what they know as MELIC minutes. This year, I had a total of 185 MELIC minute requests. And this is the breakdown of how or what they wanted to talk to me about. So for the most part, you'll see that 40%, a chunk of them were just want to chat. But when you get into the nitty-gritty of that, the thing that stuck out to me the most in the subjects of what they wanted to just chat about wasn't just, I want to get out of class, let me come talk to Miss Melick. It really was things on their mind, things going on at home with friends. You know, a lot of times they don't want to put home. They want to just tell me when I get there, or when they get there, they like the confidentiality aspect of school counseling. And so most of my work individually with kiddos really had some meat to it and not just, I just want to come see you and get love. And that's okay if they want to get love and just come see me. But we had some really meaty, beautiful conversations. And I have some pretty good ideas of how to use that data next year. So stay tuned. But you'll see the other graphs to the right and bottom are the adult referrals. So I only had about 36 staff members refer kids to me. That is not an accurate number of referrals that I got. We're really working hard to try to get staff to utilize the official referral systems so that we can have accurate data. But this does not reflect hallway referrals and cafeteria referrals and, you know, impromptu on the curb, please see this kid. So we're really working to have more accurate data in years future. What's really cool about some of this data, though, is that it aligns pretty well with what the kiddos wanted to talk with me about. What that tells me is that their adults in their life at school are attuned to what's going on with the kids internally. And that is really hopeful, right? We want to see that the teachers or staff are aligned with what the kiddos are struggling with internally. So if we're looking at the personal social concerns that the adults talked about, we had a lot of bullying concerns. And a lot, I say, is 14, right? So out of all of the referrals I got, we had 14 that were possible bullying. The really great thing about my role is that it's closely aligned with Ms. Cersei, our assistant principal. And so she really works on the discipline side of things, the investigation, And should bullying be confirmed, the disciplinary consequences come first, and then I swoop behind and really restore and make things right with the kiddos. So restorative practices this school year has really been embraced by our staff and our leadership. And I've seen a lot of really great work happening through the restorative circle lens. The really neat data point, I kind of looked at the data from last school year, and Melic minute requests last school year, I had 89. This school year, I have 185. So the access that kids have to their school counselor has definitely improved. And then classroom lessons, thanks to Dr. Brookins and Dr. Brookins alone, has increased by 40 total hours from last school year. So I really want to highlight that. Does anyone have any questions or discussion points of clarification around any of this data?
Just want to thank you, Megan. I think it's incredible. I think social emotional learning for our kids and supporting their mental health is really critical. And I really appreciate what you're doing for our kids.
Thank you. All right, well, we can move on. So the data that you saw in the first slide, there are some implications for next year's work. I want to be as strategic as possible in the use of time. What I've found this year is that the 30 minutes less, I think it's kind of goes across the board with anyone I've talked to in the school. The 30 minutes that we have that's less this school year, I am feeling it. I feel like I'm rushing the clock. I am trying to beat the clock every day, and there just doesn't seem to be enough time in the day. And so really kind of trying to think about how to strategically use that time and maximize the time. And so doing a lot less of my program planning during the school day and using our extended days, whether that be a faculty, like the Tuesdays on days that we don't actually have a faculty meeting, or those Wednesdays when we have tutorial and I'm not tutoring. I want to use that time more wisely for program planning and the paperwork side of things, so that when we are at school with kids, I'm actually working with or on behalf of kiddos. This school year was really interesting. I piloted a cool program in fifth grade where I was on the specials rotation, and I called their class connections. And the class really did morph into something that I didn't expect it to morph into, but it was actually quite beautiful. And it's something that I'd like to incorporate, not within the specials rotation, but more so in the class lessons that I'm offering. And it's called a community gathering, but it's a little different than what we offer in SEL. I kind of made it up. It's a combination of small group counseling, of social emotional learning and restorative practices training combined, where kiddos sit in a circle with a talking piece, and we have a very prescriptive way of appreciating one another and airing our beef, is what I call it in class. And so learning how to address someone when you have unfinished negative business in a way that they're able to hear you, and then allowing the kiddo to be heard. So they learn how to stop, repeat back what they heard that person say to them, and then they get to decide how they move from there, whether it be an apology or thanking them for bringing it to their attention. There's also a very prescriptive way of apologizing. The kiddos ended up really looking forward to that. They would always come and talk with me. Are we having connections this week? Yes, we are. We're having connections this week. Oh, good. I've got some beef I need to air, right? And the goal was that they would, repetition creates in a developing brain and adult brain repetition creates recall in heightened emotion states. So while it felt very repetitive for the kiddos, the idea was when we get into a situation in our social life where Miss Malik isn't there and we're not circled up and someone hurts our feelings or we feel some kind of way about something, could we recall the repetitive language we've learned in the heightened emotional state? And I have some anecdotal data to say yes, the kiddos are internalizing that repetitive prescriptive language, and they're using it in times of heightened emotionality with one another when I'm not around. So I feel really good about that, and I think it's a model that I'd like to extend to third and fourth grade. Again, not in the specials rotation, but more so in the class lessons that they will all get as part of the comprehensive counseling program. I'm really looking forward to decreasing the Melick minute wait times. Because of the time constraints with me being on the specials rotation, and then just an increase in the number of kiddos. The time that I had to answer those individual sessions really was just unacceptable in the counseling world. Kids should not be waiting for me for 1 to 2 weeks. I should really be answering their Melick minute request in 24 to 48 hours. So that's a real goal of mine next year. Small groups, we had 30 small group sessions this school year, and that was up from 19 the previous school year. Small groups really are where the magic happens, and so I want to strategically find ways to offer small groups in a way that does not take away from instruction. I have a few ideas that I plan to bring to admin and see how we can work through that. Really utilizing the morning time from 7:15 or 7:20 when the kiddos get here or get to school, and that 7:45 time when the bell rings and it's time to start the day. And then I say this every year, and it is a real priority of mine to be more intentional in programming with Department of Exceptional Education. My Closing the Gap program and plan this year really revolved around students with exceptional education needs, and it is important that every single student receives a comprehensive school counseling program. And so that is something I hope to work really closely with Ms. Lingenfelter on next year. Any questions or points of discussion on the implications for next year? Ed, you're on mute.
I just said on the chat that you've
There we
done a
go.
good job of that. Yeah, that you created the reading buddies, which just warms my heart. It's a lot of my previous students that are, reading to kindergartners that maybe need a little more extra love and encouragement. And so they have an upperclassman like reading to them, and little do they know that upperclassman is a student that could use some extra practice reading. And then also, you just shared a presentation with me of a student that it blew me away. A student that I didn't even think about, their voice has not been heard this year. So, or maybe their voice has not been heard in a while. I don't know, but um, anyway, I see that you're making a very intentional effort, and it just warms my heart. So thank you.
So I had a challenge getting off of mute, but I had two observations. One is I've bugged Megan before in the past, and maybe this is an idea or a thought of having some kind of a parent council that you could work with, or maybe ambassadors to maybe just relay your messages, your like one-liners or your repetitive items, and maybe you do that already, and I'm not involved in it, but I definitely value your knowledge of the topic, and definitely expect challenges going forward in my day to day. That's the first thing. The second thing is in hearing your challenges with time optimization. I wonder if you've incorporated any AI type of help to give you like to maybe take your components, put it into the chat and see what comes out to maybe optimize your time or help you with prioritization. And I mean, there's people that are way better experts than I am, but it's amazing how much that is like a hidden tool or something in your back pocket that could help out. So those are my two observations.
I'm glad you brought that up, Ed. So AI is a controversial subject, as we all know. I will say, though, that in helping come up with ideas for lesson planning, especially in the younger grades, my background is middle school. So the younger grades and the class lessons for K through 2 often take a lot of my time in planning, and I've used AI to help me generate ideas for them. So that has been huge because it does take a long time to do lesson planning. Um, ASCA requires us to complete a pretty thorough lesson plan for every lesson. And it's very similar to a teacher's lesson plan. And so generating those ideas through AI has been really helpful because I do get a bit of a mental block. Believe it or not, I know a lot of people say that I'm like sound like I belong in elementary school, but K through 2 ideas really do bug me as far as class lessons. So yes, AI definitely has helped in that way. Um, the other thing that's really helped is I have this year intentionally kept a timer on my Apple Watch, like on the face, and it's 10 minutes. So my watch will silently vibrate at 10 minutes to help me stop talking because I get into these discussions with kiddos and we get to loving on one another and talking about life. And then before you know it, I've spent 30 whole minutes with one kid. And so the Apple Watch actually with the 10-minute timer on my face has really been helpful to manage my own talking. But the other part of it is I want kiddos to feel from me the humanity of the work, right? And so I pause a bit when it comes to AI for other things just because I want them to really feel the heart work that goes into the role. And then Jordan, I'm about to talk about the reading buddies in the next slide because that was part of my closing the gap.
One thing I wanted to lift up, as a Go Team, we approved in our budget for the reserve, as long as that comes through, that we would hire an hourly counselor. And I think that seeing what Megan is doing and the data around it, I think that really helps support that we made a great call with that.
I really appreciate that, Go Team, because I think that our kids are going to be better for it. And I really feel like it's a great use of the money. And I can't wait to show you what we do with it next year. It's really exciting, so thank you. A few celebrations that I'd love to just lift up. We've definitely seen an increase in services for all students. This was the first year that I visited every single classroom. So I can say that all of our students did receive school counseling services at BPA for the first time. This school year, I had been working on this itty bitty little personal project on the side called an LPC, which means that I'm licensed to practice privately on my own. And I lift that up because it only makes me a better counselor for kids at school. There's the beauty and the gift and the honor of being a school counselor is often offering services that may not be available or are not available to every single kid. And so even if it is a 10-minute timer on my watch, they might not have gotten the quality counseling services otherwise, even in that 10 minutes. So I feel really proud of that. It requires me to have a lot of continuing education to keep that license. And I only think that our kiddos will benefit from that um, for years to come. The other things that I really am proud of are our rainbow dragons, the inclusivity and the safe space for kids who often feel unsafe. It's been an amazing year with them. And the really cool thing is that Mary Lynn Elementary will be starting their own rainbow club called Rainbow Rockets. I guess their mascot are the Rockets. So they will be starting their own Rainbow Club, kind of inspired by us, and we'll be working together as schools next school year. They're going to be coming to our last meeting on Monday and learning from us. And then just my role in the admin team, oftentimes student support is not seen as a support of instruction when really, as we can see, there is a support of instruction through counseling. If our whole kiddo is not doing well, if they're not doing well in all aspects of their life, it's very difficult for them to get to class and retain the information that they need to retain. And so my role on the admin team, I've just really enjoyed and I really advocate for because the whole child really matters. And the perspective of a school counselor also does matter in talking about instruction. So I feel really happy, proud, and grateful that our leadership prioritizes that and the role that I play. And then lastly, school counselors do a little project every year, and it's called Closing the Gap. Recently, we just went through a new addition change, and so it's actually called, I don't remember, Achievement Gap Project. It's the same thing. It's where we take achievement data and we put forth an intervention to try and make a difference either through academics, behavior, or attendance. Our attendance rate is one of the best attendance rates in our cluster and district. Our behaviors are also incredibly limited at BPA. And so I chose to work on an achievement goal. And at the beginning of the year, I really embedded myself in a lot of the data conversations that were happening. And I heard that and saw that over the years, our exceptional education students just weren't growing at the same rate that our other subgroups have been growing academically. So I chose to focus on 8 fourth grade students who all are served in the exceptional education program and have individualized education plans. I wrote a SMART goal at the beginning of the year, and that SMART goal was by the administration of the spring MAP assessment, fourth grade students in the students with disabilities subgroups scoring in the beginning or developing category of ELA milestones, predicted proficiency will decrease from 8 students to 4. It was a pretty hefty goal. And what I did to achieve this goal were 2 main interventions. I really wanted to increase their confidence in reading. And I wanted to increase their executive functioning skills to maybe see a difference in their classroom grades. So what we did was we met twice a week. Once a week, we would focus on an executive functioning small group, those executive functioning skills like time prioritization, really study skills, organization. We did a data test talk where we kind of looked at their scores. We looked at how they felt about their scores. We looked at how they felt about the test itself. Like, do they get nervous? Do they feel anxious? What happens in their body when they take the test to tell them that they're anxious or nervous? What are some of the things that they do already to prepare or to get themselves regulated when they take the test? And then offering them some things to try throughout the semester. So we started in January and ended at right before spring break. And then that second small group, 1 week, we would go and choose a kindergarten level book from the library. And I taught them how to read the book out loud to kiddos. So how to hold the book so that the kids could see the pictures all of the time, how to read the book in a way that felt exciting to listen to. We would practice reading that book out loud to each other in the group. And then the following week, they would pick up their kinder buddy. Those kinder buddies were chosen based on teacher recommendations of kinder students that could use just a big kid that loved on them and would help them in some way. And so these are some pictures of our reading buddies. So every other week they got to practice reading the book. And then the following week they would go and pick up their kinder buddies from class. They learned how to knock on the door, how to ask politely for the kiddo, how to hold a conversation with them on the way to the library, little questions for them to ask their buddy so that it wasn't just some, awkward walk to the library and then sit and read the book and you're done. And this was pretty special. The fourth grade kids, I was so surprised to see their faces light up every single time it was time to go get their buddies, how careful they were and intentional they were about asking for them with the teachers and the politeness and just everything that they learned from me, they soaked up like sponges. So I think anecdotally, and I, definitely pre and post, what is the word I'm looking for?
Assessment data.
Yeah, where,
Uh-huh.
okay, I can't think of the word. It's fine. Their attitudes toward reading out loud, toward reading to other peers, those attitudes positively changed in every single student. If we're looking at the numbers, we didn't quite meet the lofty goal that I set out to meet, but there was some really great growth. And in that growth, I have an idea to continue this on with this same exact group of kids into their fifth grade year and with the same buddies that they had this school year. So those buddies will be in first grade and continue monitoring to see if we see any more growth. What you'll see here in the table is the winter map scores. Any kiddo that's in green, we saw some sort of growth. So the percentage is the qualitative data. Thank you. That's what I was looking for, Tanasha. The percentages really show how those students compare to other kiddos like them around the nation. The RIT score is really their individual score. And so we can see some growth in either percentage or RIT score in most of the kiddos. There was one kiddo that did meet my lofty goal of going into the next band of proficiency in their spring map. So I feel really good about that. And then by the time they got to their spring reading grades, every single kiddo was in the passing score range and not failing. And so we see a little bit of growth, not as much as I hoped for, but I feel really good about the growth we had. And then also, like Tanasha said, the qualitative data means the world also. One of these kiddos that was in this group, their disability, in years prior, they've had a very difficult time even talking about it or acknowledging it. And they went on to advocate with Dr. Brookins to present to their peers about their disability with older and younger kids. So they created an entire presentation on their disability with friends, and her friends called themselves cheerleaders, and they went around and presented to kiddos about their disability. So there's some real wins and some real hope for the future.
Great work, Megan.
Yeah, thank you so much. I know this was a long one, so thank you for listening, and I'm really excited for next year, y'all.
Megan, I know that we talked about it a little bit, but really seeing your presentation, I really feel like we're ready to try for RAMP certification. I really think we're ready. Will you just tell the group just a little bit about what it means to be a RAMP certified school?
Sure. So RAMP stands for Recognized ASCA Model Program. It's a national recognition through our American School Counseling Association. It's a pretty lofty goal. There are only 2 APS schools who have that recognition right now. And so that application process begins, and I will be applying for it and submitting in October based on this school year's work.
Yeah.
And we'll see what happens.
Yeah, so my former school was RAMP certified. The school counselor had been through the process. I think it's really fantastic because I think it really shows what a robust school counseling program we have to be able to support our kids. And really, so much of what you just shared with us aligns so well with what they're looking for, being data-driven. I pulled up some of the qualifications: focusing on measurable student outcomes, providing services to all students. I mean, all of it is what you're doing. So I say we go for it.
I'm in. I'll keep you posted next year.
All right. And we will help you and work with you, of course.
Thank you.
But thank you for your hard work.
Thank you all so much for your time.
Thank you, Megan. Does anybody have any additional questions for Megan before we get back to our discussion items? Allie?
No, just thank you for everything. You were amazing.
Thank you.
BPA is very, very, very lucky to have you as part of our school community, within our neighborhood, and all the good things that you bring.
Thank you. Thanks, y'all.
All right. Thank you, Megan.
So we're going to go back to our discussion items. Our discussion item is first to talk about our MAP scores from spring. So this is a picture of our MAP growth reading data from spring when we took it in March. This is looking at our school achievement data across the board. At the top, this is just the key to reorient ourselves to what those scores really mean. It's looking at the different percentile bands. So as a whole for a school, K through 5, in reading, our average achievement percentile was the 81st achievement percentile, which is great. In comparison from where we were from fall, we went from the 80th average percentile to the 81st. And you can see how those scores are distributed between those quintiles. Again, this is the 1st to 20th, our 21st to 40th, scoring from the 41st to 60th, 61st to 80th, and 81st to 100, or really 99. But to see this, that 50% of our kids at BPA are scoring at the 81st percentile and above is something to really celebrate for reading. In terms of where this compared, and you guys can see the distribution across the board. Here's kinder and first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. We have grown when we're comparing from being proficient and distinguished, which is our target by milestones. If we're comparing meeting that percentile from fall to now, we went from scoring that 74% of our kiddos scored that this administration, and previously they were at the 71st. 71% of our kiddos scored proficient and distinguished. So growth all around K-5 for reading. And we want to look to see how that might apply to predictions for Georgia milestones. The proficiency predictions, we're looking at 3rd, 4th, and 5th grade. We've got red for our beginning, yellow developing, the lighter green is proficient, and distinguishes that darker green. The first date, I want you guys to look at the district. So APS as a district as a whole, and you can see how it pairs out across the board, but then look at BPA and see how BPA does in comparison to the outcomes of the district. I think is huge to celebrate. We are doing strong work. And then you can see across the board for all of our grades, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, for reading, how it parses out in comparison to how we scored last year. And you'll remember from our strategic plan, overall, we scored at 62.4% proficient and distinguished on Georgia milestones last year. If we compare that with our MAP results, they're predicting that we will score at least 64% proficient and distinguished this year. So we would have some growth based off of these predictive measures. Does anybody have questions about reading?
I put it in the chat, Morgan, but because it's there's no new linking study, and like we're not anticipating assessment scores to be back like probably until the fall, right? With all of the
Yeah. And Dr. Brookins will chat. I don't know
Okay.
if Dr. Brookins, you want to.
Sorry, didn't mean to steal your thumb. Didn't mean to do it. We can get to it later. That's fine.
That's okay. Yep. We'll go through milestones in just a little bit, but you're right. Those ELA scores won't be back until October or so.
Yeah, and so what Allie's talking about with the linking study, they have not done a study to see how predictive, based off of our new standards that we were using for this school year that were implemented, they haven't linked to see how predictive MAP as an assessment is going to be at predicting our results. If we remember from the new math standards, they just finished the linking study for math. But previously it had not been as predictive. So it was not as tightly aligned. So you never know. We see in the case for, at least for math, we always scored way better than what MAP was predicting us to do. So we can hope.
And the other thing I think we should lift is that we had an option this year to choose whether or not to do MAP for the spring, and we did choose to do it. But, in looking at the amount of testing that was occurring at that time, if we have an option for that next year, I'm not sure whether we will go ahead and take that, just because the kids had a lot of tests all at once right around the same time. And so, there is a very short window between the winter MAP and the spring MAP. And so it's just figuring out whether the juice is really worth the squeeze with it. So I think that's something, for us to discuss as a school-based team.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Brookins. So looking at math, this is first the viewpoint of kindergarten through 5th grade. For all grades, our average achievement percentile was the 78th, and we can see it spread from kinder on through 5th grade. I want y'all to see, Kinder crushes it. I'm going to tell y'all, their team, they're phenomenal. Always starting off those foundational skills for our students. But I want you to this is the best our 5th grade score has ever been. So to be the transition of our kiddos from K all the way up to 5, I think is a huge huge celebration. The two comparison data points. So we have gone from the 74th average achievement percentile from the fall to now at that 78th average achievement percentile. Though that 74th and that 78th was the best average achievement percentile we've ever had on MAP. So super proud of that. And then in addition, we went from 66% of our kiddos scoring proficient and distinguished by these percentiles at the 61st and above in fall to now 72% of our kiddos in math. So if we want to compare that to predictions for milestones, again, looking at proficient, distinguished, last year on milestones, we were at 65.8%, and this is how our data spread for this average of 65.8. And based off of these scores this year, we are predicted to be at 69% proficient and above this year. I seem to be covering the district comparison if you all would like to see. There you go. There's the district comparison. So, any questions about math?
No questions, but I think if we're looking at that district comparison, just keeping in mind that not all schools took that spring math. So that could have an impact on that data.
Definitely. Definitely. Especially which schools took it. Alrighty, y'all. If we don't have any questions about our data, we are going to try to reflect briefly. And in thinking about our data, what is our data telling us? What good news can we celebrate? Where do we have some growth opportunities and any trends that we might see in our data?
Well, we're seeing lots of upward trends.
Yeah.
That's nice.
So as you all think about, can anybody identify any strengths that we have for our data or some opportunities? Where could we target some things for next year?
Like you said, the kindergarten and 5th grade data was incredibly strong.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think just like foundational literacy and early math skills, building a great foundation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think a wondering I have, and this is maybe a potential opportunity, is like I think there's probably an opportunity to look at students who are, in the bottom, what would it be, quintile?
Mm-hmm.
And think about like what have we done, like for students who have moved out of that bottom quintile, like what is driving that growth? And then for students that haven't, like what else could we leverage and do to support them to make sure that like that gap's not getting wider over time.
Love it. I agree. And Tanasha's a great person that we can partner with through MTSS Lens.
I was also going to add that just thinking about that kindergarten cohort coming in as strong as they did, like in the fall, sometimes something that we don't leverage enough is thinking about the early learning opportunities that parents are exposed to, because when we have families who have kids that are up and coming, we can use information based on where our students are coming from to say, hey, these are some programs or some pre-K experiences that families are taking advantage of that are right here in our 30316 zip code. Because some families just aren't aware of all the options that are available. So as a school, like being able to say, like, this is what's in our community and this is what we're taking advantage of.
Yeah, I like that. So it's like the partnerships.
That's a great idea too.
I love that. I'm going to say, like, in general, for our strengths, our achievement data year by year has continued to increase. I think our strength is our strong teaching staff. Our staff is knowledgeable. We trust our teachers to teach each and every day. We support training for our teachers. So I think the amount we invest in our teachers is definitely a strength to support our student achievement.
Yeah, and I think also a strength is the consistent outcomes across the grades. Like you see, I mean, they're all within what, 5 or 6 percentage points of each other in terms of average percentile. And I think that speaks to that too, Morgan.
Yeah, I agree, Alec. Alrighty.
I think also an excellent coaching and support staff, right? We have a lot of experts in our building that are, really working to support teachers and students.
Yes, agree.
It's okay to write that, Morgan.
Got it. Alrighty. So from this, do we have any needs that we see in the coming year? Maybe these are things we might want to focus on as a Go team. I can say from a math standpoint, we have adopted a new math resource for next school year for implementation. Most of our teaching staff is very familiar with it because we have used it in the past, Eureka Math Squared. But a big part of my lift next year will be to make sure our teachers are supported and have the things that they need for implementing Eureka along with our Georgia math standards. So
Yeah.
I was going to ask about for reading. I know that there was a new reading curriculum this year, and I think, I've just heard like some challenges with grading and like grading practices and responding to data practices, and with the new RLA standards and things. And so I'm more just curious of how teachers are feeling about that new curriculum and like using it to make instructional decisions, and where is it meeting their needs and where might they need additional support or guidance or something different.
Definitely. If it's of interest to the Go team, we can partner with Miss Watts Blunt, our literacy coach, and she can we can invite her to come chat with the Go team and talk about the use of Benchmark Advance. She did have a planning session the other day with the publisher for Benchmark Advance and laid out a whole new plan for next year in terms of what support can look like and the next steps to take in terms of implementation. Also from PLCs, I think it is definitely, as the year has gone on, that our teachers do feel more comfortable in utilizing it. They're more familiar. There's lots of different things for them to use. But it does take time to get familiar with the implementation and get used to the standards.
I was going to say teachers have shared a lot of positive feedback around it recently. I think that Morgan's right. I think as they gain comfort with it, like anything else, that learning curve. But I think as they get more comfortable, overall, I've heard a lot of positives about it. So I'm really happy about that.
Is the Go team interested? Would you like Miss Watts Blunt for us to invite her?
That would be for next year, Morgan.
Yeah.
One thing I was going to say too that comes up a lot in my meetings with parents, whether it be 504 meetings, SST meetings, or just whatever I'm meeting with parents about, we have limited availability for our staff to tutor. And we do have Mathnasium now over on this side of town, but parents are looking for tutoring resources, tutoring support. So I don't know if there's something that we can bring to the school. I'm thinking about a couple of years ago when we had that program that some students got on. Do you remember which one, Morgan? The math program?
Yes.
which I feel like that would be good for enrichment for some of our kids that we want to push, not necessarily some of our kids that are struggling, but just thinking about what does it look like to like really push all kids, like whether some kids need to go further, some kids just need extra help. Like that's what I hear from families when I'm meeting with them. They want to know like what's available.
I hear that. I will say, so we used FEV Tutor for the good of the group in years past, and it was online tutoring. What the data said, however, from utilizing it was that it did not impact achievement positively, the students who participated in it. So that's why we do not have FEV Tutor currently. But I
Another
agree, personalized learning, enrichment, and things like that, so we can better support student needs individually. I think that's a big call out.
Tanasha, also to kind of piggyback on that, something that I've heard from parents also is a desire to learn how to help their kids, to get more familiar with the curriculum and the teaching strategies that we're using, both in math and literacy, so that they can help their kids at home as well. So I think that's something that we can work on for next year. And having sessions for families to come in and be a little bit more hands-on with, how to teach and help their kids.
Yes.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks for that conversation. So here are just some next steps for us as a Go team. Dr. Brookins gets to prep for next school year over the summer. We will have a Go team meeting after July 1st, and I'd like us to pick a date today just so we can put it on the calendar. During the first business meeting in fall 2026, we'll review our strategic plan, those priorities, and look at the data from milestones to set the stage for the upcoming school year. And that brings us to our information items. We already had Megan's amazing presentation for our counseling program at BPA. Thank you again for that, Megan. That brings us to our principal's report.
Yeah. Okay. So just a few things in terms of staffing updates. We are making some shifts in teachers to different grade levels for next year. And some of that was based on teacher requests. They would like to, try a different grade level. Or also some of it was based on needing, because of our gifted population, needing at least 3 gifted endorsed teachers per grade level to be able to serve the needs of all students, including our gifted students. So we did make some shifts in staffing for next year, and so I'd like to share that with you. So as you know, of course, first of all, we're adding a pre-K. So we will have Miss Clemens will be the teacher who will be coming over for pre-K. And we just had a fantastic pre-K preview where Miss Clemens and Miss Howard, who will be the para, who was previously a BPA para, so she's returning. So both of them, along with members of our admin team, came together and greeted our new pre-K families, did a tour. They got to spend some time in the library and things of that nature. So that was a really great event for us. Lots of excitement with bringing pre-K back on board at BPA. So Miss Clemens will be the teacher there. For kindergarten, our kindergarten team will be Mr. Booker, Miss Hicks, Miss Huey, Miss Townley, who are all current kindergarten teachers. And then we have recommended a new teacher for hire that still has to finish up with the HR process. However, it is an experienced teacher who comes highly recommended. So we're looking forward to welcoming her to the BPA team. So that will round out our kindergarten team. We'll have 5 teachers there. Now, for first grade, Miss Soderstrom, who was previously in kindergarten, is moving up to first grade, along with Miss Brown, Miss Etheridge, Miss Hutchison, and Dr. Miller. So that will round out 5 teachers in first grade. And in second grade, we have a couple of shifts as well, or actually just one. So we've got Miss Dibble will be coming down from third grade to teach second grade. So we've got Miss Dibble, then Miss Boyd, Miss Cunningham, Miss Ganaway, and Miss West. So 5 teachers there as well. In third grade, we will have, let's see, Miss Battle, Miss Tasasha Battle will be joining us from another APS school. We're looking forward to welcoming her. And then it will be Miss Fletcher. So Miss Fletcher, who was teaching second grade, is shifting up to third grade, and she's a former third grade teacher at BPA. So we're looking forward to welcoming her back to the third grade team. Miss Kay Mills, Miss Ogletree, and Miss Turner will also remain in third grade for the year. For fourth grade, we will have Miss Drumgooley is moving up from first grade to fourth grade, and she's very excited about that. And joining her will be Miss Barthay, Miss Sasha Mills, and Miss Petrello. So we'll have 4 fourth grade sections. And finally, in fifth grade, we've got Miss Oniki Smith, who is currently in third, but has taught fifth grade for many years. She will be moving back up to fifth, and we'll have Mr. Ecker, Miss Nuguse, and Dr. Richardson to round out those 4 teachers in fifth grade. Miss Krajak was a fifth grade teacher, and she is going to be shifting into our innovation lab. She will be the teacher there, and she's very excited about that. She's got lots of great science and math background. And then also in one of our autism classrooms, we will have Miss Lindsay Childs is coming to us from City Schools of Decatur. Mr. Kevin Petty is moving on to pursue some other opportunities. So we're looking forward to welcoming Miss Childs to our exceptional ed team. And is there anyone I'm missing? Or did I get it all?
I think you are good.
Yeah. Okay. So that's exciting. We've got several moves that will be happening over the summer. We're hosting summer school also. So our teachers will be, preparing everything to move. And then after summer school, we'll be shifting everything back up and getting everyone settled in their new classrooms. So we're excited to see what next year will bring for us. In terms of a hiring update, we have hired for all positions that are currently open, except an hourly instructional paraprofessional position. So we will be working on that shortly so that we can get someone hired in that position. As a milestones update, so of course we have wrapped up our milestones testing. Results are of course, still embargoed by the state, so we can't share overall results. However, we do have permission to send out individual reports to students, and I will say that based on that, our results are looking very, very good. I'm very pleased. Those individual reports will go home with report cards, and those will be mailed to your home during the pre-planning period. So somewhere around the 26th or 27th of May, those will start to go out to you. And then in terms of family engagement highlights, we pulled the slide from our last PTA meeting, because it is incredibly thorough and robust, and it just shows all of the incredible family engagement work that has happened at BPA over the last year. So this is, of course, Teacher and Staff Appreciation Week, and PTA, our families have come out in droves to really support our teachers and our staff and make sure that everyone feels appreciated. It's been really incredible. So we've had lots of love showered upon us this week, which has been very nice. Let's see what else. $30,000 was raised by PTA, so lots of family engagement there. and reinvested back into our community. And you can see some of the things that $30,000 helped to fund. So the book vending machine, t-shirts for the students. This is the first school I've been at where we do so many t-shirts, but the kids and the staff love it. It's really incredible. And I think it speaks a lot to the pride that everyone has for our school. And that's a beautiful thing too. I've really enjoyed seeing the pride that everybody has and the dedication that the community and the teachers and staff have for BPA. So that's really incredible. 19 sponsors have come on board with us, 173 PTA members, and just on and on. Our student bike bus, that's been incredible. So family engagement is very strong here at BPA, and that's really part of what makes it so special. Everyone works hand in hand in support of our students.
Thank you so much, Dr. Brookins. Does anybody have any questions about the principal report? Awesome. So just some additional information items. Dr. Brookins, Amy was not on the call. Do you have anything from the last cluster advisory team meeting to share?
Yeah, we talked about primarily celebrations and areas of growth and things that we would like to continue on with for the year. So I shared some of our celebrations and our great data, but it was kind of a closeout type of a meeting.
Okay, great. Thank you for that update. We also just finished up our Go Team elections. So we have our 2 staff and our 2 parent seats. You guys are stuck with me for 2 more years as a staff member. And Miss Melick, welcome to the team officially.
That's right.
2 years. So we look forward to more advocacy with you and working with you on the team. And then 2 parents, Andrew and Bethany, will be joining us, and those parents will be replacing Ed. Thank you so much to Ed for your work the past 2 years, and Melanie, who I think now will be even more busy with PTA. But thank you for your work on the Go team. Jordan, as a staff member, thank you for the past 2 years. And Allie, as a community member, thank you for your service. We really appreciate it. Super thankful.
Yeah, we really do. And it's a big deal that you choose to serve your school in this way because it is an investment of your time and your talents, but it's so important to what we do here. So I want to echo Morgan and just say an incredible thank you from the bottom of my heart for choosing to spend your time with us at this hour, month after month. So we appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you. So that reaches the end of our information items. In terms of announcements, just make sure that you've done your end of year surveys. There's the self-assessment survey, I believe a principal survey as well. I checked. I think we are all good on our required trainings. Good job, team. Feel free to email me if you just want me to double check, but I'm pretty sure when I talked with the Go Team office that we were all good. Thank you so much. And so the only thing that I would love to do is set our meeting for next year, our very first meeting. Typically, we do it that 2nd or 3rd week of August. Does anybody have any objections to keeping it on a Thursday? Thursday.
That's fine.
Great. Do we care between the first day of school is August 3rd? So around either August 13th or August 20th, the 3rd week of school. Give us a little second to breathe.
Yeah, I think August, if everybody's on board, August 20th, I think would give us more time to just kind of settle into the school year.
Perfect. Do we have an optimal time? We have met at 6 o'clock. There were a couple meetings where we did meet earlier just because of things that were going on.
I am wondering, and of course it's a team decision, but I wonder how the team would feel about an earlier meeting, just so that our team members can get home also to be with their own families. Would that you know, we seem to have good turnout when we did, was it a 4 p.m. meeting? I don't know how that works for the rest of the team.
I'm fine with if we want to place the first meeting at 4 o'clock. The rest of our team, who outside of our staff
Right.
members, I feel like are not on this call.
Yeah.
Because Allie, Ed, and Melanie are all rolling off.
Yeah, that's right.
So we can always set it at 4 o'clock, and I'll
Yep.
set it with the Zoom. And then at our very first meeting, our organizational meeting, we will set our calendar for the rest of the school year, and we can make our official times for the rest of the school year then. But if everybody's in agreement, we can set it at 4 o'clock for this first meeting on August 20th. Looks good all around. All right, awesome. I will send out that calendar invite. Oh, Dr. Brookins.
I was just going to say before we end, I want to lift up a huge thank you to Morgan as our Go Team chair this year. She has done an incredible job of keeping us moving smoothly, keeping everything working well, helping to set me up for success. I couldn't have done it without you. So I think that your work on Go Team as Go Team chair needs to be lifted.
Thank you, thank you. But I'm hereby get ready because I can't be the chair next year. I've served for 2 years.
I know.
So other people
know.
on the call, get ready to get the baton passed your way.
That's right.
Carry the mantle. Thank you for that. We have reached the end of our agenda. Does anybody have any additional business at this time? Looking good across the board. May I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, Melanie. Your last.
Second.
Yay. Thank you, Allie. We got a second. All in favor, please raise your hand or say yay. All right, looking good across the board. No opposed, no abstentions. Thank you all so much. It is 7:17. Our meeting is adjourned.
Thanks, everyone. It's been a fun 4 years.
Thanks, everybody.
I've enjoyed it. Take care.
We made it through a
Thanks,
year.
everybody.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.